and I started working.
1 week later.
1 week later, I was in the office.
You had to mastermind the whole thing in uni, but then into the workforce, you become a small part of the greater thing that someone else is masterminding.
Currently, long term, I don't see myself going into architecture.
Happy Halloween!
Welcome back to Crit Space!
Wait, how do you want to do this? We'll just keep this candid.
When did you submit your thesis?
Beginning of March.
Yeah, I was mid-Feb, so 2 weeks late.
Yeah.
And I was June.
I started work straight away. After I handed in, I started working.
1 week later.
1 week later, I was in the office. Yeah.
Jeez.
I started working in May. Maybe it was longer than that, maybe June
Yeah.
or July. I am working for an exhibition design company called Story Inc. I never really thought much about exhibition design until a couple of years ago. I found out one of my old tutors, Ashley, was working at Story Inc. and I was like, that just sounds like the coolest thing. So I do experience design, so I'm working with my bosses to come up with concepts and sort of something we need to convey to a client in terms of like an interactive or communicate things in that way.
Yeah.
And then I also manage content, so I do writing and I do like image research and then lots of conceptual overarching.
Is it spatial much? Or is it more like narrative?
It depends. Like at the moment I'm working on master planning for a project, so I'm working out what these different spaces could be and what the narrative is going to be that you go through the space.
Okay.
And that's not just me, that's a conversation
Yeah.
with other people as well.
Right now I'm sort of in more of a liminal time of the year. After finishing thesis, one of my tutors got me into a theatre production as a set design assistant. So that was amazing. So, you know, it's sort of spatially tangential. And then also tutoring on the side. So I was tutoring back at the uni where Crit Space started. So yeah, now I'm sort of in a liminal transitional space because the theatre production's wrapped up and tutoring's finished for the year and waiting on details for like the next theatre production or whatever, but there's, you know, hiccups in communication. So that's where I'm at.
And looking for a new...
Oh yeah. And sort of
800
just
call Shan.
Huh?
800 call Shan. Give me a job.
800 help.
So you're anticipating to work full-time next year?
Pretty much, yeah. So this is the end of my
Your gap year.
gap. There's this word I use in the cover letter, because in the cover letter I actually said, like, hey, I schizophrenic finished my thesis and I took the rest of 2022 off, so now I'm looking for a job.
Well, you shouldn't have said you took it off, because technically you didn't take this year off
Technically I
at
didn't,
all.
no,
Yeah.
I know, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I guess not. But just for me, like in my brain, like anything that is in the office is not architecturally, like concretely architectural.
Which,
Which is weird, right?
yeah, which, to my surprise, most offices care more about what else you do other than architecture.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working in the office right now. It's a cool office. Really good projects that I'm put on. The conceptual side of things. That's how I've come across to what you guys do. And I'm like, damn, it's kind of just hitting me that there's this idea of what architecture is when we were at uni. But when you actually work, 50% of it is like diluted because 50% of it belongs to another kind of job, like an interior or like an experienced designer's job. The architect is kind of just left with the building. It just feels like we used to design way more holistically than what I'm observing now. So
You know, when you're in school, you have to deal with the entire project yourself. And there's only a limit to how in-depth you can get into the project overall. You have to mastermind the whole thing in uni, but then into the workforce, you become a small part of the greater thing that someone else is masterminding.
I kind of love it because I feel like I'm not masterminding, but
No.
a lot of what we do is like we need someone to do graphics, sort of. We need people to construct things or technical, like not robotics, but you know stuff like that. Stuff that requires a way more expertise than us, and so we're kind of like little coordinators who are sort of bringing all these pieces together. And
Strings of multiple people coming together and then all putting their energy towards the one project. It's just, I think that discrepancy of, you know, you being in uni, like, okay, this is everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then going into the workforce and suddenly, like, just this little tiny bit, if the firm is nice enough, maybe perhaps more.
What were things from your architecture career that you are finding have led to you where you are now and like how you're feeling about this stuff.
Yeah, okay, so like drawing similarities.
Yeah,
for, like,
from how it led you. Yeah,
what we did at uni and
Yeah.
what we're doing now.
yeah.
So I wasn't actively looking for a job. I got recommended through staff from
Classic.
the uni to go do an interview, and this was before the end of my thesis. The director who was interviewing me that I would prefer to be put on commercial projects, especially like civic projects, because all the projects that I've ever done at uni, if I had a choice, it would be like public buildings. The only time I did residential was, I think, like group work or something like that. Yeah. So that was kind of my interest, and then that's what I expressed, and then that is what they've put me on in the office with one residential project, which is fun. Like at the beginning, you know, my director was aware that I was like, I don't know how to do residential, and he was like, just try it. And so I got put on one, and it's better because it's way faster than a public building or a commercial building, because there's so many consultants involved in those jobs that after you finish the design phase, you're literally stuck in meetings every week and just people saying, oh, we need to move the air conditioning here. Oh no, we need bigger pipes. And you're just like, you're not doing really design anymore. But when you're on residential, you're constantly just updating the design, and all you have to consult with is with the client, that they are okay with it, they're happy with it, and their budget is happy with it. Yeah. In terms of like satisfying a kind of designer's speed, or I don't know, just like the amount of power you have on a design, residential turned out to be way better than the commercial. But then I would still do commercial because I think
it's just more in line with what you're interested in.
Yeah, totally. And a mixture of both is good. That's how it's working right now anyway. Yeah.
What led you to what you've been
Oh,
doing?
thanks, Vampire. It's pretty similar. It's kind of funny that knowing what we know of each other and knowing what I know now, that after finishing architecture school, everyone's kind of where they're meant to be, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Basically, between the three of us. In uni, I was interested in a lot of theoretical, you know, I started in phenomenology, so you already know where I'm coming from with that. And then towards my last 2 years for thesis and masters, the tutor that actually got me the theatre production job was my tutor in that fourth year, who got me very invested into theatre design and the more performative, which is kind of really just a more realistic extension of phenomenology, I think, in my opinion at least. I mean, considering crit space, I've always had an interest in filming and videos, and so theatre and the spatiality of theatre isn't too far cry from my interest.
Lifetime. Both theatre and crit space are in time. You know,
Yeah,
they're things
that's
that
right.
play out in time. The work that we do plays out in time, but we do a static sort of thing rather than
Just
theatre.
a moment, yeah, for sure.
Like the difference between museums and theatre is that theatre is you're designing it through time.
Set designing is sort of a more contained form of the architecture that I want to do. But it's more enjoyable in a different way because obviously you say, you know, it's like in time and oh my god, I just saw a show recently and it made me so angry. It made me so angry because it was so well designed.
What did you say?
Waterfront Theatre.
North
North by Northwest.
I didn't go.
The set, it's such bad etiquette. But I was just taking photos.
Can you show me after?
Yeah, I'll show you after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should cut this bit, if it's illegal. It's not illegal.
No,
right?
it's not legal.
Anyways, it's a big Australian run, and that's been like basically exported. Was that a hiccup?
Yes, always. Yeah.
Regardless, go watch it.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm sort of happy to be where I've ended up now, since it's all related. I definitely very, very much enjoy set design, but I do feel like I want that bigger picture of the architectural forms. So, yeah.
I think that's really smart because I think at 3 months was when my honeymoon period with my job kind of ended for me. The 9 to 5 was such a relief from working always so late from thesis over the weekend. It just felt so normal to not have a weekend. 9 to 5 was amazing. But then after 3 months, 9 to 5 just felt so
because there's no end. There's no submission date.
There's no submission date, and you're like done with one stage of a project. You're like, yes, tomorrow it's like a new thing slides onto your desk, and you're just like, oh my god. You know, I think I've told both of you that like my creativity level is just like it's just drying out. The reality is that it's just so much admin that you do, and it's so little design, even if you're on the concept stage. At my review, I was like to my directors, hey, I really want to go do crits, and I really want to maybe like tutor again sometimes, and it's good because they're like, yeah, we'll totally support you, which is great. Went to one crit, but then you kind of only can go to crits when you can actually leave the office and put work down for that time. So it's still difficult.
There's like a really practical link that's led me to my job, and the fact that I had a really fantastic tutor. Well, she's just had a baby a few months ago.
Jesus.
So she needed someone to cover her maternity leave, late March, April-ish. She contacted me and a few other people asking if anyone was interested, like this is what my job's about. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm interested. Like I literally said I wanted this like 6 months ago. Not even to her, just I'd been whining to the universe and it hurt me. But yeah, that's how I got my job, is that I got approached by someone to cover maternity leave. It has now become permanent as of like last week.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah, really exciting. I'm over the moon. Just because like I do really love my job. In terms of things that I did in architecture school, was that I went to architecture school knowing that I probably didn't want to do architecture. I just really vibed with the course and really liked it. I did go through periods where I thought I wanted to do architecture. I don't know what I was kidding myself. Like maybe I do want to someday. Like I knew what I was interested in, and that was sort of the beginning of the project, the like fun few weeks where you're sort of doing conceptual things and you're making, and I can't quite pinpoint it down because I hadn't thought about it in months. So I didn't do my thesis I didn't do a building. I was like, I like drawing, I'm gonna investigate drawing and everything that's around that. I really stuck to my guns, and like you said, I feel like it's led me to where I'm supposed to be. But in saying that, I think I'm very lucky in the job that I've gotten, and I feel very lucky in the projects that I did throughout architecture school, and sort of how ballsy I was sometimes. And it may not work out for everyone, but I knew that I wasn't going to put myself through something that really wasn't me. I wasn't going to have a good time. And
I think honestly you've probably taken the most out of school then, architecture school, in that sense. You know, like identifying what you don't want and then chasing the things that you enjoy. Sort of curating yourself as an artist, designer, aspiring architect, or however way the title goes. Because it's like saying, like, okay, yeah, I can't do X, so I'll try to do Y. Doing Y and Y and Y and Y, suddenly you've sort of
a niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think not enough people do that.
Yeah, I would think it's really intimidating. And like the first year of architecture school, I really thought that I was telling you guys the other day, like I thought I had to buy Copic markers.
Listen.
I love this.
I
I spent so much of first year in the first few years just sort of trying to work out what I thought other people wanted from me.
Right.
And then it's like when I really started understanding media, which was a course I later taught, I just didn't get it in the beginning. Like I really realised that I had to do what came from me and work out what I wanted and how I was going. As soon as I stopped trying to work out what other people wanted me to do, well, it was still within the bounds of the project.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, no, same, honestly. Like, I think it fully took me until a little bit of second year, but mostly fourth year, to be more confident in who and what I wanted. Like, I suffered so much in bachelor's, truthfully. But all those bad experiences sort of inversely leading you to where you're meant to be. That despite that, we're still here.
And in terms of carving out your own niche, it's not necessarily like, oh, I gotta find my edge, I gotta have my own niche, I'm gonna do this thing. It's like actually like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, where am I gonna find myself? It's more about that.
Oh, I died.
Oh no.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Hello.
Yay! Finally, Tora.
It's just her butt to the camera.
Maybe what do you guys want to do long term? Like,
Long term?
What is? If you don't know, that's
I'm
fine.
in an existential crisis right now.
Apparently, long term, I don't see myself going into architecture.
Hey! What did she do?
She was like, her paw was trying to go at the couch.
Whatever. I'll just drink something else.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So for me personally, I definitely see myself staying with my company for quite some time. In terms of like long term, I know that once I'm with my company, you kind of never you know, you always have a relationship with them.
Yes.
And so I know that I could come back, but I would like to go overseas and see if there's exhibition design helps like in other companies.
Yeah.
But ultimately would love to do some live work, like theatre stuff. Like I just think I really like working in exhibition design and would want to continue doing that for sure. I think ultimately would love to dabble in live stuff.
Live as in like theatre?
Yeah,
Oh,
live
okay.
as in theatre. Also, I don't feel pressured to move overseas. I'm really happy living in New Zealand for the next while, for sure. Like that whole pressure of like, oh, I have to go and do something. No, just like, no, I'm happy to wait a few years. Yeah.
In terms of the live, New Zealand's just quite small, but there's something
Yeah.
special about it being small. You know, despite its size, there's still fantastic, equally international quality projects coming out, honestly, truthfully. I think in my personal opinion, I'd rather go overseas. Just graduate pay, especially in architecture, and in most things in general, is quite low, because there's sort of low competition in New Zealand, and so there's not really a need. But yeah, for me in the long run, I think keep doing the live, for sure. But whether that's only in theatre or only in set design, I don't know. There's a like a thought bubble. Like I think I want to have either A, have my own firm, or B, re-establish the Ministry of Works for the government.
Whoa.
I know that one is.
I feel like I don't see myself being in someone else's firm.
Is this ultimate though?
Ultimately.
That is ultimate.
Yeah, ultimately at the end of however long X, you know?
Where do you want to go, Cindy?
This is like existential crisis panic. I want to try what you're doing sometime down the line, just because like I'm having a review with my relationship with architecture right now, and I'm just kind of like looking back on all the projects I did back at uni. Honestly, I think I was always more interested in the public buildings. I spent most of the time thinking through the program and like the experience, spend so much time on doing those renders, perspectives, diagram planning, and then like kind of the minimum effort for the building. To be really honest, right? Like the buildings are always kind of just like a slab or something really abstract. Slap a color on it, make it even more abstract. You know, I've never really worked with like timber, brick, like anything that you'd actually build buildings out of. I was always just interested in like the story of this place and how people interact with the space. Once I started my job through a project, got to know this other job, which is what you're doing. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are the one that are the program designers and we're just the one building the shell. And so I'm reassessing, where do I actually find the type of work that I really, really, really enjoyed and kept me going for 5 years in architecture school. Because I was like to my mum, am I someone who can't like, work hard anymore? Like, because it's not like architecture school. Like, am I someone who can't take this kind of dumb stuff in order to, you know, like there were times that we had to grind so hard in architecture. So I was like, can I not grind anymore now? But I think it was like back at uni, we were really clear with what that outcome was going to be. And then now I see the outcome, or I know what the outcome is going to be, and it wasn't the same. And so reassessing my relationship with it and realizing that the design sectors are so widespread and diverse. We should look into it.
When I was like properly looking into where I work now, I realised that because I grew up in Wellington and it's based in Wellington, there's this photo of me at the Lord of the Rings exhibition when I'm like 6. And it's literally the exhibition they designed.
I didn't know they exist until this year. Very interesting job.
It is a very interesting job.
Like very multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
In terms of the way they work, think, and collaborate.
Yeah.
Way more than what I thought architects are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
I think there are people who come out of uni and hit a good place to begin with. I think I'm totally that second one, which is thinking about a lot of alternative things, trying something new, you know, going overseas, etc. Lots of anxiety, but I guess that's just normal, and I think it's good to talk with people and ask them what they're doing. And I really appreciate that our group is super transparent about our feelings about work and all that stuff. So it's been really helpful for just kind of assessing what I want to do. Shan?
I'm just kind of going with the flow, but I think that's just sort of always typically been me, I guess. I feel like nothing's really, you know, formulated yet or set any limits yet until the office. I think the office to me right now is still this anomaly because I haven't been through it yet. If I just give this a try, and then I think that will probably open up more questions, which is, I think, the ideal outcome. So it's like, you know, okay, so I'm in the office, where, what else, you know? What about you?
I'm high on life. No, I am feeling sort of really good about it. There was a really big period of time, sort of from end of thesis through to basically getting the job, where I just had like no clue. I was like, what am I doing? Felt really anxious about like putting together a portfolio, and I've seen that amongst with sort of other people that I've talked with. I'm very grateful that something came for me, but in hindsight, I've sort of realized like, actually no, I've got good skills. I've got like, I'm a good designer in my own right. It's just sometimes really hard to remind yourself of that. And I wish I'd had more confidence in knowing that in the beginning, just throughout university, but also just in that sort of job field now. Now I sort of feel, oh my god, I could go and do this, I know this, like I just feel really sort of assured in myself. Bit sad it took a job to tell me that, but like,
just because one thing's wrapped up and done doesn't mean you know any more about yourself, you know?
Totally.
It's the game of life, learning more and more about yourself.
Yeah, and it actually will sort of continue to be like that. Like
now it's still pretty much the age of postmodernism and the interconnectivity of the internet. I think we're so far apart from the old traditional ways of like, hey, here's the one path, commit to it, then find a family, etc., etc. You know, there's more second chances now, and that's the privilege of being in this sort of generation. So, well, I guess to properly wrap up, where can people find you? Plug your handles.
At spooky_arc, but soon to be at Molten_space. So
Have you taken that?
No.
Name? Oh, you better take it.
I know.
Yeah, take it before we release the video.
I will.
Keep an eye out on the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. And happy Halloween! Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!
Someone didn't speak.